as a content creator, entrepreneur, and leader, you've seen a lot of things in the social media space and on the ground. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and how you got into like your work and the importance of speaking out against anti-Semitism, Jew hatred, and standing for Israel.
So my name is Ben. I live in the state of California in Los Angeles, in Calabasas to be exact. I have a lot of great neighbors here, good people, very well-known people. I've always wanted to be a celebrity when I was younger. And as I got older, I wanted to stay as far away from it as possible. Because I grew up in a place called North Hollywood. It wasn't the best area, but when I moved to Calabasas, there was so many people here that were in the industry. And slowly, as I started to get to know them, I was like, I'd never want to be known. They don't have the life that I want to have. I want to be unknown. I want to be the man of the shadows. I want to be like the Batman, if anything. So I actually stayed away from everybody. For a very long time, I did my work. I ran my businesses. I've made great money in business, different ventures. I was also a venture capitalist, CEO of probably over 100 companies in my life. And not all of them succeeded. But as long as you don't quit and you keep trying new things, you stay persistent, eventually success comes. At the age of 27, I had a son. And that son was with me until he was 1 year old. Me and his mother got along, but the thing is that when we got together, she became pregnant after 3 weeks. So it wasn't anything planned. Now again, everything happens for a reason. It's all God's doing. He's a blessing. But after a year of, since he was born, after his 1 year old birthday, I spoke to her and said that I no longer want to be in a relationship with her. She took it very hard and she disappeared with my son. Then COVID happened and I couldn't get to the courts. I couldn't get to her. Eventually I got to her. Courts opened after a couple of years. Courts told her to let me see my son. I saw my son for a year, from the age of 3 to 4. Before that, I didn't see him from 1 to 3. And I was going back and forth to the courts at that time. And after a year of us having great communication, helped her work on her business, was very good with her. We had a great relationship. She met a gentleman, and that gentleman and her, she got pregnant. And I didn't know. So, because she got pregnant, she then didn't want me around. So, after 1 year of having my son around and going back and forth from the state of California to Ohio, she said, hey, Ben, you pretty much, we know when you're coming back and forth, when you're seeing Donovan, my son's name is Donovan. We know exactly, the amount of money that you're spending on. Like, everything we're good. She didn't tell me she became pregnant. She said, just drop the case. Why pay lawyers? Why go back and forth into the courts? Just tell me you got to figure it out. So, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. She fooled me. And when I dropped the case, she, for 3 months, was playing games instead of letting me see my son. And I called the police, asked them to go to her house, let me speak to my son. She said, I have 100% custody. If he wants, he can take me to court. I was devastated at that time. kind of raised my hands and decided to go travel, I was really devastated. And the man at that point, for the second time losing a son, you have two options. You either hurt yourself or hurt somebody, or you have to take time for yourself. And it was like a do or die moment that I saw myself doing something really bad. And I said, nope, I'm going to go travel. So I went to Israel, I traveled, try to clear my mind as much as I can. And then I came back here and started looking for her with a process server to go and serve her paperwork to come back to courts. Spent probably about $600,000 between private investigators, the courts, traveling fees, hotels, lawyers. And every time I had a lawyer, they were not on my side. I thought bringing a woman lawyer because it's a woman judge and a woman that I'm dealing with, and her woman lawyer. So I brought a woman lawyer. And every time before court, they left me 3 or 4 different ones. And I had to do trial by myself. And the funny thing is that the judge allowed the last lawyer before my trial to get off the case. It's not really legal here in California, but it was okay over there in Ohio. So they left me. And I did trial on my own. I flew there. I took my best friend with me and my assistant. Flew there, did trial all on my own. But I realized 3 years ago that I was losing my son. And I was battling for 5 years in the courts. But after 2 years, I felt it. I felt that I was losing my son. And my business partner came to me and said, hey, you know what you should do? You should get on social media. I said, me, social media? I don't like these things. I don't like Facebook, Instagram, all these. Wajaras. Why do I need that? I don't need it. My life is great. I just want my son. I've done really well for myself. I was retired for 10 years. I didn't have to work. I never really have to work anymore. I work out, I travel. I said, I'm just going to wait for my son. So he said, no, you're one of the greatest men to ever exist. And the world needs to hear you. We're in time that the world needs you. I said, what do you mean? So he said, look, I'll send you a guy. I like listening to this guy. You're going to like him. It's almost like an American version of you. The way you speak in Hebrew is the way he speaks in English. And I said, okay. So he sends me a guy named Andrew Tate. And he goes, this guy right here, should listen to him. So I'm like, what are you sending me, this bald guy? Who is this guy? Talking nonsense. So he's like, listen, this guy here is a good guy, but he does a lot of things for clicks and to get views. But if you will listen to him, you have a lot of similarities. So he kept sending me for a week videos of Andrew. And it says, you need to go on the internet. You need to help him. And like that, you're going to get your son. After a week, he comes to me. He goes, so what do you think? I remember he bought me a podcast set. And this is my business partner. He's like, you're going to start a podcast. I said, look, I listened to the bald guy. I like some of the things that he says. Some of the things I think he's rude. But I guess he does it for clicks and views. You guys say, I don't know. I'm not on social media. I don't know these things. But some of the things I really like what he says. He says, listen, Everybody's attacking him because he's a masculine leader. And if there's another leader like him, it's you. You're leading all of us here. You could lead on the internet. The world needs you. They need you. I told him, look, leave me alone. I saw it, cool. I have my life is with enough headache right now, you know? I'm trying to get my son back. He goes, okay, sleep on it. Now, take in consideration, this guy respects me a lot. And not only respects me, also fears me in a way. You know, he knows that if he acts up, I'm stronger than him. He comes to me the next day and goes, all right, Ben, you ready? I said, ready for what? He said, you ready to get on the internet? I said, no, leave me alone. He goes, F you, Ben. What? F you. The world needs you. God gave you a gift and you're not using it. You're being a POS. I said, what are you talking to me this way? What are you at it? Did you lose your mind? You know I can crumble you. He goes, like I said, F you, man. The world needs you. You must go. And then there was a click. And the click was, he wasn't speaking to me. This guy never spoke to me this way. There was God speaking to me through him and telling me I need to go. So I started thinking about it. And the more I thought about it, I started to dream about it. And when you start to dream about things and you start to fantasize throughout the day and how you're going to do it, and you start to even romanticize it. And I'm like that with anything that I do. You know, I like to plan things. But then I had a dream one day and God told me, came to me in a dream and said, the world needs you. Now, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be difficult. Matter of fact, it's going to be the most difficult thing you've ever done. But no matter what, don't quit, because you got this. Woke up the next morning, went to the gym. As soon as I got to the gym, I saw a videographer. Saw the videographer, I came to him, I said, "Who are you working with?" He says, "I just lost my job." I said, "Good. You start working for me. You want to work with me full time?" He says, "Yeah, what are we going to do?" I said, "You're going to film me. I'm going to come up with ideas, whatever I want to speak about, you're going to film me." So at first I started speaking, helping Andrew and his brother, because most people don't understand. Today I understand. Most people misunderstood. They misunderstood certain people's messages. People became a little bit too sensitive. But if you understand messages a little bit better and don't take things too personal, you can grab the best parts from them. You don't have to grab all of it, right? Like, I give you a book right now. It could be one line that's going to change your life. You don't have to remember the whole book. But something might touch you, might spark that spark inside of you that God gave you, that mission. And people like Andrew and people like me have that ability to give you enough content, enough information where we might spark something to push you to do better. Now, if I wasn't controversial, nobody would listen to me. If I wasn't blunt, nobody would listen to me. So there's the people that really hate me, but not because they hate me, they hate themselves. If I said you are fat and now you hate me, why do you hate me? You should dislike the person that's next to you that tells you they love you the way that you are, not thinking about the fact that, God forbid, You could die out of a heart attack in 10 years. You could have a stroke. You could have kidney failures. You could have all sorts of problems. You're upset with me because I'm trying to change it now. And you don't like the way that you look now, but you don't have the strength to do it because you'd rather be lazy. You don't want to put in the hard work. So you're upset with me because you don't want me to tell you that you need to work harder. I'm pushing you. I know what tough love is. My dad gave me tough love. It wasn't easy with me. I had an old school Moroccan dad that wasn't easy at all. It was a normal thing to get beat up once a day, to get curses 20 times a day. It was a normal thing. But you could look at it as I survived, or you could look at it as I conquered. You're not a survivor, you're a warrior. It's all about perspective. So that was my perspective. I got to become better than my father. That was awesome. But my dad was my biggest battle, my biggest challenges. So when I went on the internet, I started to speak a little bit more open. And guess what? When I called myself King Azoulay, because I looked back at my ancestry and realized that I came from the tribe of Judah. And I've always had dreams of like King Solomon. And everybody's always told me that I'm like King David. And slowly, I'm not for this time. I'm not meant to be here. I'm not meant to be 2026. I'm from like the beginning of Common Era. Probably BC. Because AD is not for me. I'm not supposed to be here. I'm supposed to walk around with a sword and go battle. My horses are waiting for me. My wives, my 100 children, leave a legacy behind. Today I'm in an era where women don't want to have children. It's very difficult for me. I'm in an era where they want to be equal to me. We are nowhere equal. I have a job, you have a job. We're not the same. We don't look the same, we don't act the same. The whole point is that we'll be yin and yang. And we'll be different. You could do the things that I can do. We know that. Check with him what he needs. Go through here, that's all. How long is an interview? So for me, I'm in the era that doesn't even make sense to me, you know, where men are falling apart, where humans are so sensitive. For you say something, they're sensitive. It's crazy to me. So as I got on the internet to guide men, but I knew that if I was going to guide men, I was eventually going to be a role model for my son. And if I become too old until my son comes back into my life, then at least the people that I inspire today, which is the younger generation, 13, 15, 16, I'm inspiring them. They will grow up to be real good men that my son today that is 9 will look up to them, but they will become like me. So creating that cycle where I make more men that are like me, and my son will look up at least to them, to real men. So in every way possible, I'm trying to do the best to get to my son. And that's why I'm on the internet. But as I got on the internet, I then had a split from Andrew because he went against Israel. And it hurt a lot of Jews and myself because of the fact that we really liked him. A lot of young Jewish men were looking up to him. All of a sudden, he was against Israel. So it was really sad, and they needed a replacement. What's better than to give them a replacement of one of their kind who is better, stronger, wiser, everything, younger, buffer, whatever you want to call it, which is me. So then I started to have millions of followers and millions of lovers all around the world, and people that are inspired by me. And I realized that God removed from me one son and gave me 1 million. Because if I had my son, I wouldn't be on social media. There wouldn't be King Azoulay. There wouldn't be somebody that's out there working to help others. I always helped my inner circle. But who wants to have all day people messaging me that they're coming to kill me, that they're coming after my family? I spent $5 million building my brand. Nobody paid me for that. That was all me. I spent that to get my son back, to build this brand. Nobody pays for my videographers, for my marketers, for my editors, for my travels, everything from A to Z. There's a whole operation here. I have 100 people on my team. 112 at the moment. The whole operation that goes down here. So, doing all of this for my son is priceless. Knowing that when I will get him back, he will say, "Dad, wow, you did it. You really did it. You fought to get me back. And here I am with you, and I appreciate you so much." Matter of fact, he's 9 years old. Today, so many 9-year-olds look up to me that I believe within the next year or two, he will know who his father is. And he will tell his mom, "One day I want to be like King Azoulay." And she'll have to kneel down and tell him, "Honey, you will. You know why? Because that's your real father." When I went to trial, I lost my son. They removed all custody from me because I didn't pay child support for 12 months. And she got married to this new man who she had a child with, and he is now the legal guardian of my son. Do not have to wait till my son is of the legal age. I don't know if it's 16 or 18, but I'm doing everything in my power so he will know me way before that. But then once I got on the internet and I got deep enough into the internet, it no longer was about just my son. It was no longer about creating fame so my son will know who I am. It completely changed to one purpose only. And it's to save the Jewish race. At a moment right after October 7th, they shut down all of my accounts. I paid tens of thousands of dollars to bring them back. The amount of hate that I have received, the amount of shaming that I have received, the amount of threats that I have received, the character assassination, it's on levels that I couldn't even describe to you. I mean, let's say my dad prepared me very well for this. Growing up, my father, as soon as I wake up, he'd tell me, a nobody. I don't want to say how bad it was, but spoke to me really, really disrespectfully, really tried to put me down, told me I was worthless pretty much. He had his own anger issues and aggressions with life. But today I wake up to 1,000 comments, messages, and then videos of that people are making, talking about me being ugly, me having a big Jewish nose, me having nest in my beard, me being a midget, me can't know how to fight, me being smelly, hairy, like you name it. Pedophile, worked with Epstein, to working with BB and a baby killer and a rapist and a drug dealer, and you name it. What I deal with on a daily basis. And I have had offers to switch my religion publicly, to go into Islam, because they knew that today I'm the strongest Jewish voice on the internet. I had big offers, have everything you could ever dream of, convert publicly into Islam. Because it's easy to convert somebody who's not a religious person, but to convert the strongest Israeli on the internet today, or to ever exist on the internet, to convert him into Islam, that will definitely change the market. That will literally alter the perception of the next generation of Jews into believing that Islam is a better religion and they should leave Judaism. The amount of things that I've dealt with and the amount of opportunities, let's say, if I wanted to sell my soul, I call it, and have whatever I want, whatever woman I want, as much money as I want, be at the top of the top, be with the leaders. And I give up those opportunities because I'm here to, I really realize, and with all of that coming my way, I have come to realize how bad of a situation we're in, where most people don't understand, but history repeats itself. That's why we learned history. October 7 was like almost like a trailer to the next movie that is coming. It was just a trailer. I get long messages and emails where either bots, countries, or individuals are explaining how they're going to exterminate us, how they're going to capture us, how they're going to get rid of us. We're in a very, very bad situation. And then I took this very personal. I took the whole, if they want to bring the whole world down on me, I don't mind. I'll bear the pressure, I'll bear the pain. I'll take, even if it takes my own life away, I'm willing to go through that. I have accepted death already. But I will not let my Jewish brothers and sisters go down without me helping them fight this battle. You see, people thought that World War III was going to be with bombs. World War III wasn't going to be with bombs. We've already been through World War III. World War III is a digital war. That's how it starts. Getting to a point where you get everyone against Jews, and then you weaken Christianity and Catholicism to the point that their women are so degenerate. So now it is very easy to grab the men into Islam and say, come, our women are better. They don't party, they don't drink, they don't sleep around. You get virgins, you get a woman that listens to you, wants to love you, wants to take care of you, cooks, nurtures, raises a family. Exactly what men should have. And all you have to do is be a Muslim and a great provider. It makes a lot of Christians go into Islam. They're Christian men. And it's very easy for a Christian man to go into Islam and tell a woman, come with me to Islam. Because that's men guide women. I constantly hear men saying, it's women, it's women, it's women. It's not, it's men. Men are the problem, and men could fix the problem. This has nothing to do with women. I've spoken to many women, I've spoken to many men. We have a problem, and it's with men. So my job is to strengthen men. And the more I strengthen men, the more clear-minded they're going to be, the better of decisions they're going to make. Now, at first I was helping all men. Today I only want to help Jewish men and men who supports Jewish men. I no longer speak to everybody. It costs me views, it costs me followers, it costs me engagement, it costs me money. But my plan is somehow to captivate all of the next generation, that they will all follow me, and I will bring them strongly into Judaism. More family values, more integrity, more honesty, more love, more connection, more God and God and God. And I'm doing it right now by fighting the number one anti-Semitic human on the planet that is on social media. The guy's name is Gypsy Crusader. His real name is Paul Miller. The things he says is pretty horrifying. But he claims that you have to exterminate the Jews. He says, put them back into the camps, gas the Jews, get rid of them. And that right there creates a snowball effect, because he has a lot of followers and a lot of people listen to him. And because a lot of people follow him and listen to him, they could see a nice Jewish boy that is 7, 8 years old on the train in New York. And they'll just beat him up because he's wearing a kippah. And I'm not there to save that boy. I'm not there to be there for him. And then when there's other Jews around, even though they want to help, they're scared. They're scared that they're going to get hurt. So in a sense, they feel like I'm doing this battle on my own. Of course, God is with me and he's guiding me through it. I don't have any mentors, anybody. I have God. I speak to him. He speaks back to me. I practice things that most humans don't, even the religious ones. have a great relationship with God. But I want to strengthen Jews. And I want to see them be stronger, fitter, no longer the Jews that are afraid. Every Jewish man should learn how to fight, get into some combat sport. He's really afraid going to jiu-jitsu. Wrestle with the boys. Nobody gets hurt. Do some boxing. Next level up. Train some Muay Thai. Learn how to kick, learn how to move. Stay healthy. Have mobility. Some functional training. So when you have a son that is 15, 16 years old, you can still play ball with him. You can go run with him. You show him how to fight. The greatest thing about becoming a fighter is to learn not to fight. It teaches you stoicism, self-control. So I'm going to battle him. And the goal is, after I battle him, somehow to convert him after I beat him. Because when you can't beat him, you want to join him. So if I could do this in the way that I believe is the right way to get him to convert, and when I say convert, not convert and become Jewish, but no longer hate Jews, then now we are becoming stronger. I believe this: run to the rescue with love and peace will follow. Now, do I think you should turn the other cheek? And when they slap you, let them slap the other one? No. You should fight. But if you look like a dangerous man, you avoid fights in the first place. Nobody comes on the street to fight me. I wear my yarmulke, put on my kippah on Saturday nights when I leave after Shabbat. For the past 4 weeks, I've been keeping Shabbat best I can. I no longer work on Shabbat. I want to save time for my future family, for my children. So Shabbat is for me and the family. But when I leave the house with my yarmulke, nobody says anything to me. I look like a very dangerous man. Men that say something, those are usually not dangerous men. Those are weak men. Those are not stoic men. They're not warriors. They're losers. That's why they say something. A real man believes in live and let live. That's what real men are about. Because real men are men of God, and God doesn't make any mistakes. God has everybody here for a reason. Doesn't matter where you're from and who you are. Everyone has a job. But strong men know that. So weak men will say things, but when they see a dangerous man, they don't say anything. But I can make every man look like a dangerous man. And why do we want him to look dangerous? To avoid danger. It's very simple. So I'm going to have this fight with him on August 29th. It's going to be in Nashville, Tennessee. It will be the Jew versus the Nazi. The people that know me on social media and love me call me the Batman. He dresses up as the Joker a lot. So it's going to be Batman versus Joker. Once I take him down, I will call out the next anti-Semite. But I've managed to, with looking dangerous and being who I am, I've managed to bring a lot of people that are talking badly about Jews. I've been managing to get them to change the way that they speak. And I don't want to mention names, but you will realize that a lot of the influencers behind the scene, the work that I'm doing, that people don't know about, a lot of these influencers are all of a sudden coming to Israel, or all of a sudden speaking better about Jews in Israel, or all of a sudden not speaking bad about Jews in Israel. You guys don't know what I'm doing behind the scene. You don't know who I'm friends with. When it comes down to social media, it's very important not to be arrogant for the rest of my Jews. Doesn't matter if I'm arrogant. I do it for a reason. But I have diverse content. Some content I'm arrogant. It's to grab people's attention. But when you come into my page, you see that's mostly love. I would say that young Jewish men have to now only... The problem is that most of us have always just chased money. It's like, I want to be financially free. But I realize that a man needs to hold something I call the 5 F's. Every man needs to hold this. The first F, you have to have faith. You have to have God. Without God, we're nothing. We're empty. Vessels. Worthless in the world. Number 1 is God. Number 2, you need to be financially free. It's very important. Unfortunately, in the world that we live in today, no money, can't do anything. Then you need to be fit. You have to have a 6-pack. Why? Because the more fit that you are, the longer you're going to live, and a long, healthy life you're going to have, which means you'll be here longer and stronger to be able to protect your family. You'll be able to play with your children, even when they get older. You can be 50 and 60 and still have a 6-pack. Have buddies at the gym that are in their 70s. One guy is 82, got a 6-pack. Could do pull-ups, could do push-ups, could do handstands. 82. So fit. Next thing is you want to be able to fight. You got to learn how to fight. Some combat sport. A lot of young men today, they're on TikTok. They don't communicate. They don't know how to speak like me and you. Best place to put them in is to get them to train in a combat sport where they're with other boys, where they get to speak, they get to bond with other men. Because you need to have your boys that you can go to and talk to them. Boys need boys, girls need girls. It's very important to have somebody to talk to, a friend. You also need an altercation that isn't on the street, but you handled it in the dojo. And over there, once it's done, you guys go home with your friends. So it teaches you for life how to agree, to also disagree, or how to have an altercation or a fight and end the fight in a good way. Because a lot of men today, when they go work for somebody, they're afraid to ask for something because they're afraid of what he might say. Or they're afraid to get into a business and they're afraid of what might happen and they let nothing happen. Or they don't want to get confrontational with another man because they don't want to upset this other man. Because then they lose a friend. Well, guess what? I'd rather be alone if I can't be myself. I'd rather you like me for who I am than for who I'm not. So learn how to fight. Once you have these 4 F's, you have God, you have money, you're fit, and you could fight. With all of these, you could protect now a woman and children. Now you need a family. So now you have a wife, and you have children, and you will raise them good and strong. People of God, they say, leave a better world for our children. No, we actually need to leave better children for our world. The world is dying. But it doesn't click. It doesn't click to humans. Something is stuck. The brain has been rotted. I have to clean it out, flush it. A ship doesn't sink from the water around it. It sinks from the water that enters it. Same with your mind. So we have to make sure we clear our mind. Step away from TikTok. Imagine right now, every Jew was buff, was lean, had a six-pack, was making great money, knew how to fight, had God, had Torah, rapping to feeling like me, where it doesn't even fit you because your bicep is a little bit too big. And become God's warriors. What a beautiful thing to see. If God gave us a body that could grow and create muscle and become stronger, clearly he wants us to do that. But for some reason, all the religious people don't go to the gym. They practice prayer, they don't eat well, they're not healthy. I've coached a lot of religious men from New York, by the way, some that are rabbis that had a very large belly. And their wives weren't so happy with them, and they weren't so happy with their wives. And I fixed the problem. So then you have the 5 F's, and with these 5 F's, you will be one happy camper. Your life will be perfect as a man. But you see, people get these wrong. They get this wrong. They don't get these. They have 1 or 2. And then they say that because they have 1, they can't get the other. The young generation needs direction, and that's why I'm here.
So one of the things that we found also, and you touched upon it, and on things you're doing behind the scenes with influencers, that there's a lot of hate from influencers, unfortunately, and we're seeing that in real time with, on the right and on the left, and people who just want the clicks, they want the clout, and they might not even believe it. They just want to, like, they're going with the flow.
They don't believe it.
Yeah.
Andrew, for example, does not hate Israel. He has friends that live in Israel. He has employees that live in Israel. His brother has an Israeli girlfriend. The guy who is running his whole operation is a very smart Jewish man. He's constantly surrounded by Jewish investors and business partners. He does not have a problem with Jews or Israel, but it got him clicks and it got more people to buy his product. So this is what he did.
So how, you sit in a very interesting space, right? As a leader in this space and someone who can make these shifts in the narrative. Because when you actually talk to somebody and people look at you and what you've accomplished in your life, they want to be similar to you. And so they'll listen to you. So how do you talk to somebody who is, totally out there and saying, like, wake up, right? Like, this is the truth. If you're going to be a God-fearing person, or, if you're going to be someone who wants to build a brand that's not, awful, because, right, how do you do it?
So I can tell you how I would help. So I wanted to start the King Azoulay Foundation because the end goal is that I want to have at least 10,000 children that are Jewish children that I raise and I feed, orphans. I've realized that there's so much more that I could do in the world. Now, for that, I need a lot of money. But in order to get to the point that I'm on that level of influence, okay, there is a plan that requires a good amount of funds for me to do that. And I have not gone into the Jewish community and asked for any help. But it is something I want to put together. So first of all, there's a lot of people who make videos about me that are not true. So grab a few good Jewish lawyers for defamation, lawsuits, remove these videos. Then second, release press about how King Azoulay is here to save the youth and the next generation. Puts me all over everywhere. Then the next thing is I have a team of clippers. The same way that Clavicular became super famous because he has Kick, who takes all of his content and gives it to something called clippers. The clippers distribute it everywhere on thousands of accounts. I have clippers with thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of accounts that will take all of the best content of mine. Let's say it's content speaking about God. They will take that and distribute it everywhere. Content of me working out, distributed everywhere. Content of me being Jewish and speaking to the Jews in this earth, distributed everywhere. Where every single person that will scroll down will see King Azoulay, King Azoulay, King Azoulay, King Azoulay. Who is this guy? Now, if you see me so much, you're going to be intrigued to see who I am. Then you come to my page and I nurture you with good content. And within 6 months, I would be the most famous person to ever exist on the planet, with the influence to take all of the next generation, Jews and non-Jews, to love Judaism and want to be a part of Judaism, to follow me as their leader to success, to a healthy lifestyle, to God. I feel like I'm God's warrior. I have a full plan. It just costs a good amount of money. So if I could at some point in time put together some Jews, because it's a good amount of money, but it's really not that much money. If I could put together a foundation and raise $1 million or $2 million, that's all it takes for me to finish my job and being the person that could pretty much take the next generation to where we want it to be. Because I've already done most of the job. You know what I mean?
So you talk about the end goal and you talked about a process. What do you want people to think about Judaism in your content? In that, like, we talked about the haters, we talked about people wanting to like better themselves spiritually, financially, fit-wise, but as a Jew and as someone who has a huge platform, what do you want people to take away from, like, when they watch you, of why Judaism is amazing? And we say, Judaism is like a light onto the nations, and Israel
Correct.
is that thing. So what's that? If someone never knew who you were and they came across your content and they have a couple minutes to like learn a little bit, like what's that message you want to empower, sort of give to them about Judaism?
I would like for one thing to happen, to flip the script, to no more to think that Jews came to hurt the world, but to believe and know that Jews came to help the world. If I could flip that script, we will have a way better place in the world for Jews. At the moment, Gen Z is completely stepping away from Jews. At some point in time, these people will go up for president, governors, senators. What do we do then? We're done. I'm one of the last resorts to get all of these young men to look at us and say, we're Jews. We love everyone. We're here for everybody. Charlie, may you rest in peace, Charlie Kirk, did a great job at it until he was assassinated, and it seemed like Jews were the reason for his assassination, because he found out what Jews are really about. That was a horrible thing for him to go like this, and a horrible day for us as Jews, because it made millions of people hate us.
There's this idea about Israel, you know, now it's like post October 7th, right? That, for 2 years there was like this Shiva, right? We were hoping for the hostages to come back. Thank God, a lot of them, unfortunately, a lot of them were killed. And there's this mixed conception about Israel as a whole, right? Like, it's dangerous.
Right.
It's it's an apartheid state. It's this juggernaut where people just can't wrap their head around until they actually go and visit and they see the amazingness of Israel. Why is it so important to visit Israel and actually see, this tapestry of different, Jews and Hindus and Muslims and African American, especially when African Americans go to Israel and they see people that look like them, right? It's a very powerful thing that.
We see now that Israel is very self-destructive. For example, you had this influencer there right now. His name was Klav. And for clicks, everybody went and messed with him. Nobody really cared about him. Nobody really cared to do something better. It's just for clicks. People are doing things for clicks. So the same reason Andrew Tate said, I hate Israel for clicks. It's the same reason why everybody went and talked about Klav right now. The anti-Semite, he's not. He came to Israel to show that you can have fun in Israel. Who's watching him? Gen Z. What do they see now? That we are barbaric and we're a terrorist state. We drove him away because we wanted to kill him. Great. Great power move. Which almost makes me feel like it is all done on purpose. Maybe, not the Israelis, but maybe somebody a little bit higher up is happy to cause us all these problems. Maybe someone up high knew about October 7th. Maybe the Holocaust was planned to get us to come to Israel. Maybe. They say if it wasn't Hitler, there wouldn't be Israel. So maybe. We don't know. But I think we're smarter today to understand that us Jews need to stick together. But unfortunately, people follow a trend. People follow what's trendy. Now look, I love Israel as the home and the land of the Jews. I am now going to buy property in Israel for the first time because of the hate that I'm getting. But maybe there's something bigger here. And at some point in time, we have to open our eyes and say, look, the Jewish people, we need to work together. Doesn't matter if we see something on the internet. Why are we out on the streets telling Klav he must leave Israel or else we're coming to kill him or whatever it is? Saw a lot of young men making these clips. For what? For clipping, for views? You know how much bad you're doing for us and the rest of the world? Instead of welcoming him, show him, look, although he made a bad decision, look how nicely we welcome him. Although Palestinians came into Israel on October 7th, we still have Palestinians that live in Israel. We didn't kick them all out. Why? Because we want to show that we're good. Showing that we're good sometimes costs us with our life. But in this situation right here, that would have been a better move. Unfortunately, people for clicks ruined something that I, here in the US, work on for 3 years. When he spoke bad about Israel, I had a talk with him. He apologized. He's just a child that is trying to catch views. So he does certain things for views. But after that, he went and he hung out with Jews, and he's been with friends with Yama Kazan, and he's friends of a rabbi. And David Gutman brought him to him over in Miami. They had a conversation. They took photos together, and I agreed that he was going to never go into politics again. So he has this stupidity. Oh, they said he was saying something about Jewish women. It's Jewish women that are going to be in his stream and want to act slutty. It's not his fault. They want the clicks too today. They want to be viewed. They want to be in. They sold their soul to the devil. But to go and ruin something way greater, that's not right. Because we're here doing God's work. And to go chase him down, wait outside of Kempinski to tell him that you're going to hurt him or kill him, that isn't the right way to go about it. I'm fighting this Nazi, I'm fighting him in the ring. I don't go stand outside his house. We're Jews. We're God's people. We go with love. We go with peace. Even though I'm going to beat him up, I'll beat him up and then make a peace. I'll convert him. Don't worry. So what if I'll smash him? It's all part of the plan. Do you understand where I'm getting at?
100%. There is something that you touch on so many things. It's outstanding that you're able to hyper focus on things, meaning that when we're able to look at an overall Jewish identity, being able to wrestle with people who don't agree with you, but then also being able to bring people into the fold who don't agree with you, right? And then being able to, there's something about like tikkun olam, right? When people say it, a lot of times when I hear it, I'm like, okay, tikkun olam. But you're actually doing something very interesting around tikkun olam, right? You are repairing the world, right? There's an idea that when you're able to show that light, to show that goodness, and to become the person that you're supposed to be, is something that's needed now, right? And when you repair the world and you make it better, there's this opportunity to share again that Jewish resilience and Jewish joy. And when you say Am Yisrael Chai, or you say never again, you mean it, because you can fight, you can show your Jewish identity. So what's the Kiddush Hashem that you want to share with the world?
It's almost like I wish things could be back to normal. I wish that Jews will love each other more than they ever have before. They say we have Eretz Zavat Chalav Udvash, right? It is a country or a land that is of honey and milk. And if I could bring more peace to the world and see more people being at peace with themselves and loving their brothers and sisters, whether they succeed more than them or less than them, knowing that we're all a part of God's plan, that is what I would love to see mostly. Because I feel that's where we really are lacking. So when we look at our neighbor and believe, why does he have more than me? That's where the evil eye comes in.